before the world knew his name. South Central Los Angeles knew the whispers. A quiet kid, soft-spoken, barely able to read. But on those streets, Rick Ross was learning something more valuable than school ever taught him. Survival. And survival was about to turn him into an empire. In the late 1970s, Rick Ross wasn't aiming to be a kingpin. He was a teenager hustling any way he could, fixing cars, selling scraps, grinding for every dollar. But every door slammed shut. No diploma, no options, no opportunities. Until one chance meeting changed everything. A connection led him to cocaine, a drug still rare in LA streets. And suddenly, Rick found the first thing he was good at: distribution. Not violence, not intimidation, just business. He was calm, organized, and strategic, the opposite of what the streets expected. When crack cocaine hit South Central, the city transformed overnight. And Freeway Rick became the architect of a network so large, so fast, that even the dealers working for him didn't fully understand the scale. He bought houses to store product, cars to move it, runners who operated around the clock. Money came in faster than he could count. Tens of thousands a day, then hundreds of thousands, then millions. To LA, he wasn't a ghost. He was a presence, a quiet figure who never flashed chains, never bragged, never acted like the king he already was. But behind the scenes, something bigger was happening. While Rick built his empire from the streets, his supplier, Danilo Blandon, was tied to something unthinkable. Federal hearings would later connect Blandon to groups backed by U.S. intelligence, groups funding wars overseas through drug money. Which meant Rick Ross wasn't just fueling the streets of LA, he was unknowingly feeding a geopolitical machine. He didn't know it. The city didn't know it. But someone above him had already decided how far his rise would go, and when it would end. When the government finally came for Rick, it wasn't local police, it wasn't a small task force, it was federal, strategic, coordinated, and patient. A sting operation, a setup, a controlled buy engineered by the very supplier who once made Rick rich. The hammer dropped. Life sentence. A man who couldn't read as a kid, now trapped inside a system built to keep him there. But Freeway Rick Ross did something no one predicted. In prison, he taught himself to read. He studied the law, and line by line, case by case, he found the loophole that freed him. Against all odds, he walked out. Not the kingpin he once was, but a man who understood the world in a way he never did before. Freeway Rick Ross didn't just build an empire, he exposed one. His story forces a question that still hangs over Los Angeles today. Did Rick Ross create the system, or was the system created around him? This is Criminal Origins, where we uncover the rise and downfall of the world's most feared figures.